Welcome to the Barbados Today Morning News Update for Tuesday, October the 24th. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. In our top story at this hour, with no apparent recourse, no hope, and no signs of relief anytime soon, from 3 years of sheer frustration, the people of White Hill St. Andrew took matters into their own hands last weekend and started to build themselves a new road. It has been nearly 3 years since heavy rains in November 2014 caused extensive land slippage in the area, damaging the road and making it impassable soon after. It was condemned by the authorities, grinding traffic to a halt. An attempt at a temporary fix shortly before Christmas 2015 ended in failure when cracks began to appear. Residents have since been making almost daily pleas to government to help them in their virtual isolation, but to no avail. Spokesman for the residents, Carlita Andrews, told Barbados Today they were so tired of waiting, they decided to build the road themselves.
No one is helping us, so we have to help ourselves, and with all these rains that fall for the whole week is becoming hard and difficult for the person that has to traverse the area to pass. So the guys in the area take it upon themselves as usual to go and try to cut out like a footpath so that the person in the areas who have to traverse the area when the bus doesn't come and after 7:30 at night, because as I always say, we are on a 7:30 curfew to traverse the area, which is very dangerous. And before this rain that fall, it have became worse. It have became impossible. So we have to try to help ourselves.
The current economic environment is proving to be a major headache for investors, and the island's falling foreign exchange reserves are limiting at least one company's ability to diversify its portfolio. Investment Director of Fortress Fund Managers, Roger Caves, says the recent downgrade of Barbados' long-term local currency sovereign credit rating to CCC from CCC+ should not be ignored. A newly introduced media launch and learn session yesterday at Fortress Hinks Street Bridgetown office, Caves said the downgrade is a serious concern for investors.
Yeah, I think the downgrades are a concern, obviously, for for everyone, particularly for investors like ourselves, and it means that the ability to repay and honour the debt repayments as and when they come due is clearly a concern to the rating agencies and by extension ourselves as investors. So it is a concern, but we are hopeful, and steps are being taken by policymakers to try and correct the situation.
The Barbados Water Authority says its efforts to achieve a sustainable solution to the ongoing offensive-smelling wastewater overflows onto the streets of the South Coast will be hard and unpleasant. But manager of the authority's wastewater division, Patricia Innes, is assuring long-suffering residents and business owners that it will not retreat or surrender in its goal to bring lasting relief to those who have had to endure the constant inconveniences of what some say is sewage flowing onto the streets. Innes tells Barbados Today the problem has to be fixed in phases, starting with the installation of 2 trash pumps due in the island in 2 weeks' time.
Then we're going to be fixing the screw lifts, continue to fix the screw lifts. Right? And in time, God willing, hopefully the auxiliary pumps, the trash pumps come in. At the same time, backflow preventers come in so that we can insulate some customers where we are concerned about and we don't want to see any possible overflow in their areas. We will be bringing in flow meters to monitor rates, and we'll be doing other things to protect the system. A CCTV is coming in so that we can look at what's going on, and then we're going to be looking at going in the network and doing repairs and stuff of the network itself.
Residents in 3 St. Michael communities woke up to the shock of their vehicles having been vandalized yesterday morning, with at least 1 window each from 10 cars smashed. Our Anmar Gurish Boyce reports.
The shattered glass seen here tell the story of a nightmare for at least 10 vehicle owners in 3 districts in Barbados. Residents in the communities of Embassy Garden, First Avenue, Highgate Hall, and Lower Burnley are concerned about the damage to their property and invasion of their privacy. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Inspector Roland Cobbler, told Barbados Today preliminary investigations suggest that culprits struck during the wee hours of Monday morning. Among those affected by the vandalism was an upset Joanne Jones.
This morning we got up shortly, well then we came outside shortly before 7. We realized that 2 of the cars had been damaged. The front window of one car, that's the front passenger side, and then the rear passenger window on the other car. Incidentally, those cars, how the cars are parked, those windows are both facing the road, so not to our end, so we didn't notice immediately. It's only then somebody went around the other side that we saw them.
Jones is however grateful that bandits opted to target her car and not her home.
Violated, but thankful that it's nothing worse, and it's just the cars and not actually the house, God forbid.
Over in Embassy Gardens, no one wanted to speak on camera, but residents expressed their concern about the incident, which some suggest wasn't at all a surprise. Police are continuing investigations. Admiral Goodrich Boyce, Barbados Today.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Join us from November 16th to 19th, 2017 for the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, where acclaimed Barbadian chefs and mixologists are joined by Chef Jean-Georges of the US, Chef Tom Akins of the UK, Chef Chris De La Rosa of Canada to create dining experiences to delight the senses. Visit ticketpal.com and all TicketPal locations to get your tickets, and visit foodandrum.com for more information.
It's time now for regional news. A police officer in Antigua and Barbuda reappears in court today, charged in connection with an elaborate scam to extort a businessman in 2015. Prosecutors allege that 47-year-old Joseph Peters used his position as a police constable to intimidate the 57-year-old man into paying money to avoid prosecution. But the High Court heard that Peters, while dressed in uniform, threatened to arrest the businessman outside a condominium minutes after he allegedly had sexual intercourse with 2 young women.
The businessman told the court Constable Peters approached the younger of the 2 women and asked if she had had sex with the businessman. He said the girl immediately answered yes, and the officer put him in handcuffs after claiming the girl was underage. According to the businessman, the officer then used a cell phone to call the girl's mother, who arrived on the scene within 2 minutes. He said Peters told him to negotiate with the mother if he wanted to resolve the situation. The complainant said the mother initially asked for $600,000, but eventually reduced the figure to $200,000 and agreed to accept a vehicle as part of the payment. The businessman says the officer left after learning an agreement had been reached. The court heard the mother eventually agreed to a further reduction to $150,000. She received the vehicle and agreed to monthly payments of $9,000, 2 of which she received.
And on the international scene, President Donald Trump says his tax overhaul will not affect retirement savings, trying to ease the minds of voters as Republicans look for ways to pay for their promised tax cuts.
Americans currently can set aside up to $18,000 per year for retirement without paying taxes, even more for those over 50. Republicans had reportedly considered a plan that would reduce that figure to as low as $2,400 per year. Workers would have to pay tax on any savings above that figure. The benefit currently costs the U.S. government about $115 billion in lost revenue this year. Republicans hoping to use that money to offset planned tax cuts for businesses. Democrats, economists, and financial companies like Fidelity Investments blasted the idea as short-sighted, saying it could discourage saving and cost money down the road. Trump killed the idea on Monday, calling the benefit on Twitter a, quote, great and popular middle-class tax break that works.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.